Well, would you look at that? 9 people. That's 3 times what came to my Super Bowl party. See, Mrs. Robbins, you didn't have to fail me. I know my times tables. I know you did it because I was a little more rambunctious than I should have been. And I don't think that's so much a crime I deserve to fail for it. But I forgive you. I don't got any reason to hold grudges like that anymore. Not where I am now. 9 people. I'll be damned if that weren't part of why I did it, you know. Thought, hey, this is the only way I really got left to make an impact, you know. Maybe I was right, 'cause there they all are. Even Jimmy back from the Big Apple there. New York City. God, I haven't seen him in so long. Wish it didn't have to be like this. I'm sorry, Jimmy. I wish I hadn't have blown up at you all those years ago 'cause of that. Truth is, I was just trying to protect you, and I just didn't know what else to do. I was raised different. Your grandpa used to just look at me right in the eye and point to his belt and say, "One more word out of you," and I knew what that meant. And if he didn't teach me to keep my mouth shut, the older boys in the neighborhood would have taught me worse. The world's just changing so fast. An old clunker like me can't keep up, doesn't know how to deal with it. I know that don't make it right. I'm just hoping maybe you can understand one day and forgive me. From here, now, this new perspective will change a man's position a bit. I know I spent a lot of time telling you to quit with that acting nonsense and learn something useful, but from where I'm sitting now, I can tell you, that's the position of a man whose world is very small, especially when it comes to a talent like yours. You've come a long way from Lincoln Junior High presents The Princess and the Pea, eh? Katrina, a man like me doesn't deserve such nice words as you spoke. You're a little writer, and I didn't even know it. Maybe write your big brother a play someday. The way you used to stay up all night, stuck to those Harry Potter books. Guess it all adds up, eh? Who was that character you used to run around with a towel wrapped around you pretending to be? Mr. Moldywort? I know. That ain't it, old man. But it used to get such a rise out of you when I'd call you that. Hey, Mr. Moldywort, you can get back to your spell book after you help your mother with the dishes. She's gonna need your help now more than ever, you know. I'm sorry, ever since they closed down the plant, I feel like I ain't been much help to nobody. I needed to make sure you two could be taken care of like you deserve. And this way, the policy'll cover that for a while. At least until I can be replaced. That's how come I had to make it look like I did. Waited for a nice cold winter day, roads all iced up, drive alone out to a country road, concrete pillar where the highway passes over. I hate thinking that you guys'll never know the truth, but the policy wouldn't have paid out if they knew it wasn't an accident. Maybe it's better that way anyhow. That way, no one has to wonder what they could have done. Well, looky there, the fellas from the plant. I heard Brett was doing pretty good in the boat business, selling out there in Waukesha. He always had a spark in him, too bright to let any setback get the best of him. Too bad we can't all be that way. I know you ain't doing too much better than I was there, Carl, but you made it here today, and I'm rooting for you. See if I can pull a few strings with the man upstairs, eh? Maybe get you that '57 Chevy you always wanted. In not so nice shape you don't get a chance to get your filthy mitts under the hood, just like you want it. Jack, now don't you go thinking this gets you off the hook for that $20 you owe me. A man's word is his honor. You can save your excuses for someone who's interested. I didn't see no waitress bump you on that scratch. Might have been more believable if they had a waitress working that night. Wasn't nobody but little Joey running drinks. Mr. Warren, I appreciate you being here. I know you did your best to fend off those damn bureaucrats, and I don't blame you the least bit. The world is changing, you know, and guys like us, We're going the way of the dinosaur. Us dinosaurs, we don't always know how to speak too great, how to represent ourselves to the outside. And I don't think we could have asked for anyone better for that than you. Maybe I wasn't the greatest at expressing that before, but I ain't gotta worry no more about looking soft. So I want you to know how grateful I am about everything you did for us. I'm sure the rest of the boys would say the same from my position, and I'm sorry us knuckleheads can't do it until we're here, but that's just the way we are. Dr. Beaver brought me into this world, may as well see me out, eh? Mom and Dad weren't too pleased about it at first, with Dr. Wilson retiring just before I was born. They didn't much trust a face as fresh as yours, but you managed to win 'em over somehow. Shit, wish I knew how you figured that out. Would have been useful information to me. What was I like then? Fresh out of the oven. How'd I look? Was I a handsome little guy? I know most doctors probably just see a slimy little baby, but I could tell by the way you looked at all of ours that you saw a lot more. That's how we knew we could always trust you to be a good doctor. You were right, too. They sure are slimy, but there's a whole lot more to 'em, isn't there? Remember that time we brought in Jimmy, coughing like he was? We were sure he might lose a lung. I never been so scared like that in my life. Scared for myself, sure, but when it's your kid, it's something different. You gave the three of us one good look and knew right away we were gonna be fine, minus a few nights' sleep. You cracked some joke about some X-Man or something, and we heard him laugh for the first time in 3 days, and we knew then we were gonna be fine too. Guess I could use another of those jokes right about now, eh? And hear that silly old chuckle of yours. Eh, 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 eh. I hope this don't do nothing to affect that. Turn you sour at all. It'd be too big a shame to lose that nature of yours. Plenty of guys out there can stitch up a cut, but not nearly so many who can really help people, you know? Not that those guys stitching up cuts aren't helping people, but I think you know what I'm trying to say. Pastor Edwards, will I be forgiven for what I've done? I suppose if I'd paid better attention, I might know that now, eh? I know you haven't seen me much in these recent years, but I just felt like I'd always left church with more questions than answers, you know? Like nothing was getting through this thick skull of mine, except that I'd sinned. Got to feeling like I might do God a favor and not taint his holy house. I thought maybe this would answer some of those questions of mine, but not really. Nothing in life is ever quite what you expect it to be. Seems that's true for death, too. If I'd have known that, I might have rethought what I did, but no use crying over spilled milk. I never did understand why God wouldn't accept Cain's sacrifice. I always felt a bit like Cain myself, like I'd been making all the wrong choices and nobody'd ever tell me what I was doing wrong, but sure as hell they didn't much want me doing it. That don't make it okay to go and kill someone out of revenge. Certainly not your own brother. But I always felt I understood a little bit of what made him do it. Some folks take it out on others. Some, well, we take it out on ourselves. Others might get a few scuffs in the fallout, but they've got you to take care of them. I'm sorry I can't be as strong a man as you, Pastor, but some of us just feels like God isn't on our side. Karen, oh Karen. Guess I put this off long as I can, eh? Till death do we part. Though I don't think this is much how either of us imagined it on that day. The day we two became one. So they said, at least. The way you walked to me down that aisle wasn't the slightest bit of fear in your eye. Meanwhile, I'm sweating like a pig. You knew then that you were supposed to be with me. Wasn't a trace of doubt in you. I wonder what changed. Maybe not what so much. Maybe I know what. Maybe how's the better question. Because that I haven't got a clue about. How'd we lose what we had? I remember those nights by the river. I remember that look in your eyes. I thought I'd never seen something so beautiful in my life. All that Shakespeare baloney they tried to teach us in school. Suddenly it made sense to me at those times with you. You'd tell me about all the exotic places on TV that you wanted to visit one day, those beautiful cathedrals in France and Spain. I promised that I'd get you there someday. A man's not a man doesn't keep his promises, and we got used to breaking those. I know when I found out about, you know, when I found out, I felt relieved more than anything. Relieved that there's one more thing I don't gotta worry about providing. One more thing we'd lost years ago anyway. Now, what does that say about me? Selfish. How do we get so afraid? Maybe we're strangers now, but it's not that I don't want to know you. I've been afraid to try for years. Can you blame me? I still care about you, more than I could ever say, and your happiness. It just seemed like the less I was around, the better shot you might have at it. For a while there, we may not have been Romeo and Juliet, but at least I could put food in your mouths and clothes on your backs. Then even that went, and what did I have left? Daytime TV and booze. There's too many dreams left in you, in all of you, to have a weight like me holding you down. You need to have big goals. You need to pursue them. Don't, and this is where you end up. You've been the best mother our two little rascals could ask for all of these years, but they're growing up. Jimmy's got his life out there in New York, and soon Katrina will be off to college. God knows the price of that these days. I had to make sure she could afford it. Don't don't waste what you've been given like I did. Please, if any of you can hear a damn word I say, you need to strive for something. You can't just exist. Well, I'm not really sure what else I can say about all this. Looks like you guys are wrapping it up down there. And me, looks like it's time for me to move on here too. Don't you cry too much for me. You got your whole lives ahead of you, and I promise I'll be looking out. Ain't none of you getting an unfair shake again. Not on my watch.